and welcome to Restoring the Inner Person with Jane. Welcome back. In our today's episode, we are looking at the hidden costs of denial. In our last episode, we were looking at the first step towards healing the inner person. And we said that it is facing the truth with grace. But one of the blocks to that truth is denial. And that's what we are looking at today. What does it cost when you deny the truth? Denial might feel safe, but it comes with a heavy price. Maybe before I tell you, or we look deeper into this cost, how can you tell a person is in denial? How can you realize that you are in denial? You realize if you are denying your reality, you will find yourself avoiding conversations with people. You avoid people maybe who question you about what is happening in your life. You avoid conversations, whether maybe family members are trying to find out what is happening to you. It could be your spouse. It could be a friend. It could be a person in the workplace. It could be a distant relative, somebody in the neighborhood. You avoid conversations about maybe painful topics that are related to what you are going through. Avoidance. You realize that even if you get into conversations, maybe you have faced a bit of the reality with someone, but you try to cover that up by minimizing the problem, dismissing that maybe it's not a big deal. So that kind of conversation, maybe you have faced the reality to some extent, but the denial is that you are dismissing it. You are saying it's a passing crowd, but the truth and the reality is that other people around you can see. Even yourself, you know it, but you are dismissing it with maybe petty talk, things like that. Okay, you can also maybe find yourself passing the blame. Another sign that you are in denial. Yes, you blame other people, and you know very well that your problem has nothing to do with other people. But you always want to shift blame. You don't want to own up maybe your mistakes. You don't want to own up that maybe something happened. You also don't want to own up that it is you who needs to do something. So it's always about other people. Blaming others. Blaming systems. Blaming organizations. Things that were done or were not done. Yes, blaming other people. Another indicator that you could be in denial is keeping yourself very busy. You realize when people are in denial, to cover up, to block maybe their minds, to divert their thinking so that maybe they are not in constant thoughts about something that is disturbing them, something that is a problem to them, they become very busy, always keeping themselves busy, overworking, working for long hours, and other people around them may not notice. They may think that this person is very committed. This person loves their job. But you know the truth. You know the reality that by being very busy, by working extra hard, which is still okay, but inside is that you are trying to run away from reality. So when you do all this, when you are in denial, what is the price that you have to pay? What is the cost? You see, when you do not face reality, which is the beginning of healing. It means that you are you are going the opposite direction of your life. If you are supposed to face north, denial makes you move the opposite direction. Maybe instead of chasing your dreams, you go opposite of what you should be doing. Instead of developing your talent, developing your career, you can find yourself actually moving the opposite direction, doing things that are not developing you, doing things that are not even developing and in helping your family and maybe even the workplace. You are doing things opposite. Yes. That means if you do things opposite, if you are a young person, it will not be easy for you to achieve the dreams. You can be chasing your dreams, talking about them, but doing exactly the opposite of what you are supposed to do. That's very expensive. That is very expensive. You can find yourself, you have advanced in age. But because of denying reality, there are many things that you have not done. Maybe you've not achieved career-wise. You've not achieved family-wise. You've not achieved maybe in developing a certain path that you are supposed to have developed. You have not achieved your mission. You have not achieved your objectives in life. Why? Because you are running away from reality and therefore doing opposite of the things that you are supposed to be doing. There are many things. Most of us think of maybe indulging in drugs, alcoholism, getting into the wrong relationships, getting into the wrong careers, just being in the wrong places with the wrong people, doing the wrong things. That's very, very expensive. And like I said in our last program, I give an example of the prodigal son. He wasted himself. You can find yourself. You have advanced in age and you have wasted yourself. You have wasted time that cannot be recovered. You have wasted resources. You've wasted dreams. You've wasted chances. Yes, that is one of the costs of denial. And I guess it covers a lot of many others. Yes. So emotionally, it can also be very expensive. When you deny reality, when you refuse to face reality, you can become an emotional wreck. Because you could be harboring a lot of emotions like anger, you're hurting, you're guilty, and all that. And you see, emotions are very powerful. It's like putting air in a balloon. If you are the balloon and when these emotions keep on piling and they are not dealt with, just like putting air in a balloon, eventually, what will happen? It can burst. It can burst. You bottle your emotions, and eventually what will happen? It is going to burst. Yes, I have seen people shaking bottles of champagne. When you come across something that will shake you up, like a bottle of champagne, you can pop and burst and just spill over and mess a lot of things, mess yourself and mess people. Yes, you can become an emotional wreck. And when you become an emotional wreck, it also wrecks many things. A lot of things do not progress. You don't grow emotionally, mentally, and in many, even socially. relationship-wise. When you become an emotional wreck, it becomes a stumbling block to growth. A stumbling block to growth. And like I've said again, it is so expensive mentally. What does it cost you mentally when you deny reality? When you deny that you are in a problem? When you deny that you are in a situation that is not okay? You suffer what we call a mental block. Mental block. Because in denying reality, there are many things that you are blocking. And instead of thinking straight, you think in a crooked way. Running away from reality, you are avoiding thinking straight. You experience mental block. And with time, you can also get a mental breakdown. So our mental processes and our emotions, they work together because you are a single unit. And this one is normally manifested in the physical. So with time, you can suffer a mental breakdown just like you can suffer an emotional breakdown. Depression can take you far. And you can eventually start even getting other mental related issues. Why? Because you have denied. I have seen people, in case of death, I have met a friend, I've seen a friend who lost a spouse. And this was too much for this person. And this person got stuck in denial. And as we talk today, this person is continually under medication. And when this person is not under medication, people describe that person as a lunatic, a person who has gone mad. So that can be one of the extent of mental breakdown when we do not face reality, when we deny the reality of our lives. The other thing is that when it comes to the spirit person, when we do not face reality and we are in denial, the spirit person can be numbed. You experience spiritual numbness. Yes, spiritual numbness. When you are spiritually numbed, that means the Spirit of God, the connection between you and God can be very difficult. You are in a world of denial. You have denied yourself the connection and the relationship with the supernatural, with your Maker. So you cannot grow spiritually. You cannot be able to experience an intimacy with God. You cannot be able to enjoy the presence of God. You cannot be able to surrender yourself to God. You cannot be able to adore God. You cannot be able to worship God. We are talking about the costs of denial. Very, very, very expensive. I want to read Jeremiah 6:14. Jeremiah 6:14 says this: "They have healed also the heart of the daughter of my people slightly, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace." It's important to deal with denial so that you can experience peace, peace, peace that is from our Maker, and that is God. Psalms 139 verse 23 and 24 says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart." Healing starts with honesty. When we stop running from pain, we open the doors of God's restoration to power. This has been Restoring the Inner Person with me, Jane. Stay tuned and make sure you hit the notification bell for our next episode. Meanwhile, make sure you subscribe. Also, make sure you write a comment because this is a way of getting feedback from us. Otherwise, from me here, bye bye and see you in the next episode.